It's tough going into business with the family. Really is. It's tricky. Because you don't want to argue, do you? Not when you have to sit down for tea in the evening. Nah. You need to have parameters, you see, so you can be honest with each other. Because I'm very passionate about the work, yeah? The technical side. Because that's very black and white to me. It either looks good or it don't. And her Jack and Danny is a direct reflection of my professionalism. A minge. Yeah. It's an extension of me and how I'm viewed. One hair out of place, that's on me, not her. I'm production, she's talent, and never the twain shall meet. I watched a lot of Paul Daniels growing up. I always imagined he loved what he did, you know. Of course, Debbie had a lot to do with that, of course she did. But the thing I took away from him was that he always seemed to be just as surprised and mesmerised by the magic as the audience were. He bloody loved magic. And people. At the beginning. At least that's what I thought from the outside. Till I met him at a W.H. Smith's. He was buying a printer cartridge, but they only had black, and he just went mental. "Job's worth cunts," he kept shouting. David Blaine's autobiography was #1 in the bestsellers at the time, though, so I think it just set him off, you know. He started stacking up Prisoner of Azkaban to try and reach the top shelf. Pulled down every copy of Mysterious Stranger and started tearing out the photos in the central spine, shouting, "He's breaking the code, he's breaking the code." Blaine, this is, not Potter, obviously. Yeah. I mean, the staff were brilliant, though. They really were. You know, they called Debbie to come get him. Not entirely sure where they got a number from, but, you know, must have been a regular, I suppose. As soon as he saw her, though, he just went silent. But that's the pressure of the inner circle, though, isn't it? You know? It's very organic at the beginning, but when you're part of a collective who all knows how the magic happens, well, it just becomes another job, doesn't it? With KPIs and stress. Starts to grind you down. Probably started out at parties, impressing some young skirt with a deck of cards. Just loving magic and how it made him feel, you know? "I'm not going to sleep with you, sir. You're clearly an underage boy." "No, I'm 35. Now pick a card, any card." You know? It's a lot like me, really. Except for me, it was a camera, not a magic set. 50mm in the park. Feeding the ducks with Mum. Few portraits, bit of still life. Making films with me friends. I loved it. I really did. But the next thing, you know, Paul's at the Royal Variety and his smile ain't quite the same, is it? What I'm getting at is when you start living behind the curtain, it stops being magic. Stops being fun, you know? Debbie's now just some moaning slapper with legs, isn't she? You know? Once she's been sawn in half, he has to reattach her and drive home. She starts getting a bit lippy, forgetting he's a master magician. The bins ain't going to put themselves out, are they, Paul? That would be magic. He's thinking, next time you disrespect me, I'm only bringing the legs home. You have to reserve your judgment, don't you? Always. Because you never know when a man's close to the edge. And now, I'm that geezer I met in Smith's. You know, I understand how he felt. We don't feed the ducks anymore. Yeah, Dad left when I was 13. Yeah. That was a blessing, if I'm honest, you know. Good riddance. Yeah, I became the man of the house. And I really grew into the role as well, because Mum was not happy at the time. So I had to step up, didn't I? And how are you going to get a girl if you don't know how to make one happy, eh? Of course, she hated girls, Mum. Fucking hell. God. She'd leave copies of Take a Break out on the coffee table with all their faces scratched out. Don't know if they were meant for me, but she did start saying when I turned 16, I don't want any more sluts knocking on this door. But I didn't know any. We started going on a lot of holidays when the divorce was settled, years later. Sandy beaches. She got stapled when we got back from Corfu, actually. And that's when I set up her Instagram. Showed her how to take a selfie. It's nice to see her smiling again, The positive comments really brought her to life, And that's when I told her, I said, you wait and see what I can do with a camera, yeah? We'll make you a pin-up, Mum. Some really arty stuff as well, with the one piece. That blew her mind, that. Honestly, you should have seen her face. We'd go away purely for the photo shoots after that. She was very committed about that as well, She climbed a tree in Bali once. We went live with a poolside limbo in Malaga, and that's when the following took off. Different woman, entirely. The power of the moving image, innit? Her confidence was sky high because of me. Not him, me. And she was very laid back about girls as well at that point, so win-win. Holidays are good for that as well, aren't they, when you're young? Girls. Opportunity knocks. My conversion rate wasn't great, got to be honest. But then we were going on a lot of holidays at that point, so we had to downsize because the divorce money was running out. And it's tricky to bring a girl back when your mum is already using the bed. So slim pickings, really. For me, at least. Monetisation. Yeah, that's what you're thinking about. Yeah. Yeah, that was a very, very serious decision. And neither of us made it lightly. Which is exactly why I drew up the contract. Yeah? I had only one condition. That the channel would constantly evolve to stay relevant. Now, initially, fine. Budget is stretched. Look in my wardrobe by all means. But the talent have been wearing my sixth form leaver shirt with all the signatures on for 6 years now. At the start, she made the lads cross the names off after they finished. With the perspiration, all the names have started to run. I don't know who's who. It's not exactly a high-end costume, is it? That's not evolution. That's just a mess. I mean, does it always have to be my peers? It's like she's doing it on purpose. Let's cast it properly. Yeah? We're not in a rush, are we? I mean, what about a random tattooed policeman, for instance? Who you haven't met before and who you didn't make sausage, chips and beans for when he came round in year 8. Or a fireman, say. Doing stuff for him on the pole that goes through the floor bit at the station, Something a bit more high concept. Let's go out on location, yeah? Sometimes you need a script, don't you? To engage the viewers. I mean, picture this, right? We open up on a uniformed lady standing before her superior officer while he attaches epaulets to her shoulders. He asks, are you ready to be inducted into the firefighting community? Sir, yes, sir, she says. I want to be a sub-officer, wink, and I voluntarily accept the inherent hazards of my profession. Good, he says. Now on your back, legs in the air. You know, you got to have a bit of fun with it, ain't ya? You know, because narrative is very big at the moment, and we don't want to start losing subscribers, do we? You know, there's no coming back from that. Yeah, I've been saying that for years. But she won't listen. No. That's why I don't want any new friends, you know, because betrayal is right around the corner. Says, some point or another, just like the school lot, they'll want to have a go on her. And Mum's not as fussy as me. Yeah, so I've got to be careful. Now, yes, it can be quite lonely, but it's the lesser of two evils, really. I no longer have to deal with screenshots on a group thread, but I do now have to go bowling on my own. Dating hadn't really worked either, to be honest. You know, I was seeing Trish for a little while, but that died a death as well. One night she asked if I wanted to go cinema at 7. I texted back saying, can't, film me mum at 8, the boys will be gone by 10, water emoji. Late screening, question mark, smiley face? But I ain't heard from her since. And the thing that annoyed me about that is that she claimed she was open-minded. But then most of them do, don't they? Mum said I could do better anyways. Don't know why I feel like this, to be honest. You know? Just a bit numb. You know? But nah, I'm just being negative, you know? I should be more grateful, really. Professionally, things are going really well at the moment. You know, we've got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of attention. Even my dad's back on the scene at the moment. Showed up on the doorstep a few weeks back, white knighting, of course. Asked how I was doing, considering we made 20k this year, Dad? Of course he comes crawling back now, doesn't he? Selfish bastard. And being so negative as well. None of this, I'm so proud to see you've made something of yourself, son. Is that Balenciagas you got on your feet there? No. No, he made everything about him, which Mum always said he would do. He just said, I'm so sorry to push you into this lifestyle. Immediately taking credit for my vision. Like it had anything to do with him. Whatever. Now, after all these years, I saw him. You know, I saw him close up for who he truly was. We're toxic male, innit?